Here in my garage, just bought my new Lamborghini. Not really. Actually, what I want to show you is over here. You see this ugly blue tarp? I'm going to show you how I used it to make over $3,600 profit in 2 weeks, right here from my filthy garage. Stick around. What's going on, everybody? My name's Jason and this is the Average Joe Money Show. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made over $3,600 profit in just 2 weeks. In fact, it really wasn't even 2 weeks. It was just during 2 different weekends. So how did I do it? Okay, today is Saturday, May 9th, 2020. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern, and these are all the weights that I just picked up. Now you may be saying to yourself, hey man, that sounds good, but a lot of gyms are opening up right now. Who's going to keep buying weights? Well, you'd be surprised, because as long as there's uncertainty with COVID-19, lots of people are going to stay home and not risk going to the gyms. That means they're going to be building out their home gyms, and they're going to need weights. The key to this hustle is making sure you get these weights at a great price so you can flip them and still make a nice chunk of money. If you look online right now in places like Facebook Marketplace or eBay or somewhere else, you're going to find that a lot of weights are selling right now for $1.50 to $2 a pound. So let's jump over to the laptop and I'll show you what I did. Okay guys, here we are on the laptop. I'll try to make this as quick as possible with a minimal amount of rambling so you can get out there and start making some money. So here we have a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about. I'm first going to talk a little bit about where to find weights locally and what call script you should use. Then we're going to talk about scaling up and what happens when you run out of local resources to find weights, how you can use state resources and Fiverr. And then we're going to talk about pricing strategy and what your competition is selling their weights for, and some ideas for you to consider on what you should sell yours for. And then finally, we're going to talk about posting your ads, where to post them, what the ad should look like, what language you should use in the ad, that sort of thing. So let's start off with local Google Maps. This seems like the most obvious place to look, and it is really, for all intents and purposes. So the easiest thing to do is just type in scrap yards near me, and you're going to find on Google Maps, you'll find most of the scrap yards in your area that will pop up. A couple things that I might mention here. As you can see, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, so these are the ones that are around me. You'll notice on the map here, there are a couple different types of recycling places. There's junk yards, where people just take junk. There's automotive recycling places. There's also typical metal scrap yards as well. The key here is you want to try to find places that do metal recycling, preferably ones that do like aluminum can recycling. Those are the best ones that you will find as far as trying to find a place to source weights from. So that's the easiest route there. The next thing I talk about here is the call script itself. I like to get straight to the point when I'm calling these places, but also try to be as friendly as possible and get on their good side. If you do that, they'll go the extra mile to try to help you out. So as you can see, the first thing I've done here is I'll call in and I'll say something along the lines of, hi, I'm calling in to see if you have any cast iron or steel weight plates like the ones used for weightlifting. And when you say like the ones used for weightlifting, that helps them kind of visualize in their mind what you're asking for. Otherwise, they might think you're asking for, I don't know, an anchor for a boat or some type of weight that goes on a piece of construction equipment, so on and so forth. This just kind of helps them understand what you're asking for. And I also have some responses, whether they answer yes or no. They might answer yes or no, and typically when they answer no, it could be a couple different reasons, but we'll get into that here in a second. If the answer is yes, we do have some weight plates. What you want to try to do is verify which kind of plates they have. Do they have the Olympic weight plates with a large 2-inch hole, or are they talking about the standard weight plates with a 1-inch hole? So there's where I kind of go into, hey, great, I'm looking to buy in bulk. Can you tell me if they're the ones with a large 2-inch hole in the center? And how much are they per pound? The reason you want to verify that, number one, is you really only want to buy the ones with the 2-inch hole, because that's what most people want. And you want to know before you go in there how much they're charging per pound. In fact, I don't think you should be paying more than at most 50 cents per pound. Most of the weights that I find are between 10 cents per pound and 25 cents per pound. If you get them in that price range, you're going to make a ton of money. So that's 2 important factors there that you want to look for. You'll also notice at the beginning of that I said I buy in bulk. The reason I do that is because it lets them know right out of the gate that I'm a serious buyer. And if they'll take just that little extra step to help me understand before I have to drive there whether or not they have the type of plates I'm looking for, that works better for you if you can do that. You'll be surprised how many of these places might have weights, but they don't know whether they're 2-inch or the 1-inch, and they won't take the extra steps. They'll just say, oh, you got to come in and take a look. So I try to get them to do that before I even waste time going there. If they say, no, we don't have any plates, they will probably either say, we don't have any in now, might get some down the road, or they might just say, no, we don't really resell to the public. In either case, it is what it is. If they say that they don't have any now and you've confirmed that they actually do resell to the public, then what you want to ask them is if they have an email address that you can send your contact information to. That way when they get some in the future, they can contact you directly and you'll be more than happy to come and buy all of them that they have. A couple things I'd mention about this is, number one, a lot of these guys typically do not like to do email. They're not very technically savvy. And so they'll probably just request that you call in every week or whatever, however often you feel like doing it, to ask them about it. Now, let's say that you go to all the scrap yards in your area. Maybe they have plates, maybe they don't. Regardless, you've already exhausted the potential within your local area. At this point, you can decide to move forward and still keep going, or you can decide to stop. If you decide to move forward and still keep going, your really only other option is to drive further away from your house now to see if you can find more weights. One little thing that I discovered as I was going through this process is that most states regulate scrap metal types of recycling facilities. And it's really because they have a lot of problems with people going onto construction sites and stealing copper wiring or other types of metals and then going to scrap yards and selling them. So you'll have to find the specific government authority in your state that regulates that. In my state, it's the Ohio Homeland Security Division. And one thing that I noticed when I was on their website here, they didn't really have any type of publicly available list of scrap yards that they regulate. So all I did is emailed the state here down in this little red arrow and asked them if they had any publicly available list of all the scrap yards in my state. And I didn't receive any response for about 2 days, but they did finally send me a list, and it was all in Excel format. It only included the facility name, the manager name, the work phone, the address, city, state, and zip, and that's it. But I needed to take it a step further because I really wanted to understand where all these places were located, number one, and number two, wanted to build out something to where I could start calling these places on a continuous basis, calling and emailing them. So what I did here is add the account of facilities. These are really just fictitious types of numbers in order that for me to be able to build a pivot table so I could see which counties had the most number of facilities. It just so happens that I happen to live in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, which has the most amount of these recycling facilities available throughout the state. Generally speaking, though, you're going to find more scrap yards in heavily populated areas, so more metropolitan areas. For example, in Ohio, we're talking about Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Youngstown. Those are the larger cities within my state. One thing that I wanted to do is try to go to all their websites so I could first figure out, is this the type of recycling scrapyard that I want to target? And if so, did they have an email? So some of that I did myself, but after about 10 of these, I was like, I'm not going to mess around with this anymore. I'm just going to outsource this. So what I did is I went over to our friend Fiverr, and I found a virtual assistant in another country to do it for me. So if you're not familiar with Fiverr, you should get familiar with it. It's a pretty easy to use platform, and you can find people to do all kinds of stuff on there, and especially when it comes to virtual assistant type of work. I basically told the virtual assistant, hey, I have a list here. I want you to find as many websites as you can and as many emails as you can, and I'll pay you 5 cents for every website and 5 cents for every email you find. And so I had somebody do that for me, and they went through this whole list of, I think there's almost 300 and some here, and there's like 300 and, 50 some. And they went through and found it. And by the way, this isn't the actual list that they did for me. This is one of my starter lists. Pretty soon, I sent over lists of recycling facilities that were in Pennsylvania, Indiana, Michigan, West Virginia, and I think a couple near the Chicago area as well. So I expanded that out pretty quickly. Unfortunately, what I found was that no matter where I called and emailed, most of these places did not have a quantity that was significant enough to justify me going that far away from home to go and pick up the weights. Generally speaking, in my opinion, if you have to drive more than 100 to 150 miles, they need to have a large amount of weights for you to pick up, like 1,000 pounds or more, to make it worth your while. But I'm going to leave that up to you. You can kind of decide on how you want to approach that, but that was my approach to the scaling up piece of this. So let's move on to the next slide. All right, so now we're going to talk about pricing strategy and competition, and I'll try to be brief on this as well. Today is July 9th, 2020. The screenshot you're looking at is something that I took today off my local Facebook Marketplace. And I can guarantee you every one of these ads that you see here for weight plates, they're selling for at least $1.50 to $2 a pound. And that's still pretty high. It is what it is. Even though Ohio has opened up their gyms and people are going back to the gyms, COVID is still there. There's a hassle with going to the gym at this point, so people are trying to build out their own home gyms. And there's still a heavy demand and very little supply for these types of weights in my area. So I find, as I probably mentioned before, or will mention, that if you buy your weights for, between 10 to 25 cents a pound, or even up to 50 cents a pound for that matter, and you sell them for $1.25 per pound, you're probably going to have people thanking you for not price gouging. $1.25 per pound seems to be the sweet spot that I have found, where people are willing to pay more than what they typically would, but they don't feel like they're getting raked over the coals. Some people, though, want these so bad that $1.50 a pound, $2 a pound, they don't care. They'll pay it. So I guess it just kind of depends on your area. But $1.25 per pound is where I found that you will sell these out quick, very quick. So that's the approach I take. The other thing I want to talk about from a pricing strategy is that if you really want to sell quickly, one thing you can do to really add a lot of perceived value to these weight plates, especially the ones that you're getting from a junkyard or a scrapyard, I should say, that are all rusty and everything, is just to clean them up a little. And by that, I mean literally taking a drill and a wire brush like I have here, shown in the picture, and just going over them very quickly and getting all the loose rust off. You'll see that some of these weights, just by doing that, they look incredible. The difference between what they were before you did this and what they are afterwards. In fact, both times that I went out to get weight plates, we backed the truck up to my garage, pulled down the tailgate, drug them to the tailgate, and just hit them with the wire brush and drill very quickly. Once on the front side, once on the back side, hit them around the sides, and then that was that. So that was the cleanup process. Doesn't take long, but it really helps to clean these things up quite a bit because most of them are going to have rust on them. And even if they have a lot of rust, you can get it off pretty easily with the wire brush and drill. And now we're going to talk about, just to give you a quick idea of what mine looked like after we did the wire brush and drill to them. So the ones on the left were really my first weekend that I did this. This is 1,995 pounds of weights on May 9th, 2020 on the left. And then I went out the next weekend, did the exact same thing. This is a little over 1,700 pounds. One thing you don't see in the picture on the left here is the dumbbells. I took those out for the ad that I'm going to be talking about here in just a few minutes because I wasn't really sure if they would sell that well, but I found out later they sell great. So if you can get dumbbells for a great price, grab all those up. You can too because people need dumbbells as well, but try to get matching sets. If you can only buy one at a time or one like 50 pound and a 25 pound, those are going to be hard to sell. Okay, so here is the last section. We're going to be talking about your ads, and what you're looking at here on the screen is my second weekend post. So I guess that was, what I say, May 16th. As you can see, it's nothing fancy. It's just a picture of the weights. One thing that I'll try to show you here, if I can zoom in, I don't know if it'll work, but we'll try it. I think probably what's more important here than the picture itself is the actual ad itself. The title of the ad is what draws people's attention. And if people have been looking for weights like this, they know how much they're going for per pound, and they already know $1.50 to $2 a pound is what the normal is. So if you come in right out of the gate in the title of your ad and say $125 per pound, and they can get 45s, 35s, 25s, 10s, 5s, and 2.5s, they're going to be all over that like white on rice. So, and you've also mentioned that they're Olympic barbell weight plates. So they know right out of the gate, these are the ones, the big ones with the 2-inch holes. So these are the ones that most people want. My ad itself, the text in there was pretty straightforward as well. You can see I added updates as time went on because I was getting hammered with so many messages, people wanting to know what did I still have in inventory, when can they stop by, what was my address. But the general template for the ad that I used was the title as you see here, and then I basically said if you need Olympic weight plates, get them now before they're gone. Today only from now until 5 p.m. First come, first serve, no holds. I gave them a general geographic location of where I'm located at because I'm not really in the city of Cleveland. I'm in a suburb where most people are familiar with. And then I also told them $125 per pound, firm, cash only, please. And then initially I listed my full inventory, like I have, 8 or 12 45-pound plates. I have 5 or 6 35-pound plates. I have 15 25-pound plates. So you give them all the information they need in the ad. Now all they got to do is, direct message you and say, hey, where are you located? When can I stop by? You'll also see that at the bottom there, I put in a lot of keyword phrases that people would typically use to search for these types of weights, and it made my ad, my posting actually show quite a bit. I didn't run any Facebook ads. There's no need to. If you post this in Facebook Marketplace and local Facebook groups, I guarantee that in itself will get a lot of eyeballs. And in fact, the first week that I did this, no joke, within an hour, I had over 50 people message me saying, when can I stop by? I need this, this, and this. And one guy actually came by and bought $760 worth of weights in one shot. So you're not going to have any problems. I would say that from a response perspective, I had the most response from Facebook. Again, Facebook Marketplace and the local Facebook groups. And then OfferUp. And then followed by Letgo and Craigslist. In fact, I don't even think I had anybody respond via Craigslist, but maybe only had 1 or 2 on Letgo. Most everybody else came from Facebook, so don't overthink it. Just post the ad. I do recommend posting the same title I have and using a similar template that I've used, like what you see here in this ad. So that's really about it. It's not too overly complicated, and you're going to make some money, quite a bit of money in fact. So that's it. That's how you make money flipping weights. If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. And also leave comments below. Let me know whether or not it's worked for you, or what other things you'd like to see maybe on this channel, or what you've done as a side hustle to make your own money. Thanks again.